gentlemen, we are less than a week away from Fight Lab 32. There's so many stars jam-packed on this card. You got Bellator vets with Joe Pacheco. You got XFC vets with Keith Richardson and Joseph Colone, and Nick Smith's on the card. Return of JJ Brantley. And if I'm going to be up here sweating in this hot heat of the summer of North Carolina and Charlotte, that means there's only one person I want to sweat with the most. That is the bread right here, Mike Cornbread Allen. Good to see you again, buddy.
Good to see you, Jazz. A long time, man.
You know what? I had to take a break from you guys. I didn't want to talk to you. I thought you were terrible, but I'm back up here again. This card, every time I come up, it's always a jam-packed card. And this one's no different. If I'm correct, if there's rumblings, if I'm correct, you're thinking about taking off 3 of these fights just due to the matchups you have here. It's so jam-packed. It's going to be so hard for the other promoters to live up to this type of...
I don't know about that. I mean, the other promotions in the Charlotte area, you know, including USFFC, all the way out here to Elite and Rock the Dot. I mean, they're stepping it up and providing these athletes a different avenue to be able to compete and get some competition. And so, I mean, they're really pushing us more than anything. But this one card, it's pretty jam packed. So all the other promoters they're going to be strapped to try to challenge.
Let's not be modest. You guys are thinking about taking off 3 of these fights because you got to spread them out. That's what I heard on the grapevine. If somebody
that sounds like a pitbull story, Kenny Litz.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, all right.
A good journalist does not reveal the sources.
That's right. Okay, I get it.
So, speaking of a pit
are you guys
boss,
currently recording?
Yes, we are.
Nice cameo. Speaking of the devil,
Just stopped in to say hi.
oh, okay. You got a jam-packed card, don't you?
We do.
And if we
It's another one. It's another masterpiece.
And if we have to start this thing back over because he just did this, then he's going to be sitting here.
I think
Y'all
you
have a great time.
share.
We'll see you.
See everybody
See
on
you Saturday
Saturday.
night.
On Saturday.
All right.
Let's get back to recording here, baby. But you just look at the card. You guys are. It's almost like you're rebuilding up the stockpile of new fighters coming in.
Yeah.
If you'd like to take a look at the fight card, you still got some old amateur vets who are on the card. Plus, you got the pros.
Yeah.
And a lot of great pros on this card.
Yeah.
Do you think you're ready to start to do these predictions now?
I'm ready, man.
You know, and before I begin too, is it a scientific thing that you do? Do you have like a chart board where you write down the statistical information, or is it all something in your head and just come up on the fly, say, hey, these are who's going to win these fights?
You know, actually, God blessed me with a pretty good memory when it comes to these fighters and the stats, just because I love the sport so much. And
because there's people cheating all around the Carolinas now who want to have your prediction expertise.
Yeah, I know. I think people actually gamble on our fights. I see them at the show.
Okay.
I've had a couple of them come up to me and tell me they'd cut me in if I just give some advice. But no, I used to do it all by memory. We've been fortunate enough as we've grown. We've Dustin Horton and his computer programmers, wherever the hell he's at. Dustin, big shout out to you. They've actually built me an administrative site where I can go in and build the online card, and I have just about every fighter that we've ever had compete for Fight Lab over the course of the last year and a half to 2 years. And you know, that's actually nowhere near half of them, but man, that's pretty nice to have. So I'm actually able to go back in, look at their records, look at who they beat, compare, see the weight classes, who's close to who, and it's helped me out tremendously because man, I used to just have to do it on my own. So it's a pretty nice tool he built for me.
Kudos to that. So mom, dad, gather the children around the table, call up grandma, phone the neighbors. It's time for the predictions right now. And remember, folks, this is a competition, not an exhibition, so wagering is encouraged. Let's go ahead and delve into this.
All right, let's get it.
Derek Hyatt's at 2-7, coming off a win at the last Fight Lab show. He hopes to keep it going versus a newcomer, Cornando Harper. If I can get that correct, it's hot in here, so forgive me. What do you see in that matchup?
Cordaro Harper, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, taking on Derek Hyatt from Renegade Fighting System. Yep. Derek Hyatt, without a doubt, the best 2-7 fighter I've ever laid eyes on, I've ever had the pleasure of training. I've said it many times before, at least 4 or 5 of his losses, I would have lost my house if I'd bet on it, because I was 110% sure he won. One of them, I think they actually said he won and then came back and changed it. So Derek, you know, he's run into some bad luck. Cordaro Harper's coming from Team Rock down in Fayetteville, and those guys, You know, tough ground, tough stand-up, always in shape, 82nd Airborne. But just for the simple fact that the H-bomb, Derek Hyde, is from Renegade, I'm going to go with the H-bomb, Derek Hyde.
There you go. Yeah, I believe he's training right next door over there, too. You got Irving Morale at 0-2 versus a Cameron Linville. He's a virgin. He has a virgin record. Never stepped foot inside the cage.
Yeah.
What do you see in this one?
You know, Irving Morale, I've actually never seen him fight in the cage, but what I did see him was at the North American Grappling Association when they came to Charlotte. He's a white belt.
You're allowed to say Naga?
Naga, whatever it's called. He's training over there with Korean top team, I think is what they call it. I know there's another name for it. Jay, don't kill me. I can't remember the name of your school. I just know the nickname. And for the record, Dave Mansell told me to say that.
Yes.
Korean top team. So Irvin was training over there. I saw him at Naga, and he made an impression on me. He beat one of my guys. It was by disqualification, but he was just such a tremendous athlete. Cameron Linville, coming from Ray Thompson's Upstate Karate down there with Wonder Boy and Joseph Corneroli. He's on the pro card. So you know it's going to be fireworks. I'm going to have to go with Irving Morale, just off the simple fact that I've actually seen him, and he's just a tremendous athlete.
There you go. Good enough for me. It's Matt Pretty Boy Probin at 4-1, takes on Trey Hull. Trey Hull last fought in June, I believe, for Elite for their title belt up there. It's listed as 1-1 as a record, but he fights up there in Virginia.
Yeah.
Those they don't transfer due to.
It's actually 4-1. Yes.
4-1. There you go. But due to the crazy computer stuff and people not sending in their emails and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell.
Virginia's a rogue state. Be careful.
I don't think they're listening to the union. Go back and check the Constitution. I believe I'm correct. Either or, we got this fight.
I think Matt Probin's what, 3-1, 4-1? He's 4-1 versus 4-1 Trey Hull.
He's British.
Yeah. Last time we saw Trey Hull, he was in the cage with tough Dylan Calla from Body Quest, and he tried to put up a good showing, but we all know Dylan's one of the toughest son of a guns in the Southeast. So Probin's been over training with Arikion, getting his wrestling right, and with his British boxing and Muay Thai.
It's crazy. I don't know what they do over there.
Yeah, I know. The boxing over there is sick, but the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu usually leaves something to be desired. And he's over to Arikion. He's with Steve Hall, probably one of the, if not the best, black belts in the Southeast. Steve is definitely one of them. So, I mean, Matt just looks better and better and better, so I'm going to have to go with Matt Probin on this.
I was going to say, because Matt and me are friends, and if you didn't say Matt, I was going to have to hurt you a little bit.
Well, I'm going with Matt Probin.
Thank you very much.
No need for violence.
Well, there's always a need for violence. 1-2, Caleb Bucy takes on Charlie Gutterz, if I'm pronouncing it correctly again. He's a newcomer inside the cage. These new guys are sometimes, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But I have no idea anything about young Charlie.
Charlie Gutterz, he's coming to us from Marshall's MMA down in Goldsboro. Trey Singleton, Kevin Kinane, Marcus Flood, those guys, military brats. They're always in shape. Those guys at Marshall's MMA, they bang, they grapple, they don't quit. And I've never seen this guy fight, but like I said, from the reputation in Fight Lab that I've seen of his teammates, I know he's going to be tough. Yeah. Looking at his picture, he's physically a specimen.
Is he like Chaz Bryant built?
He's built like Chaz Bryant. He's built like Chaz Bryant. Caleb Bucy, on the other hand, what can you say? Every time I've seen him get in the cage, he keeps improving. He's over there with East Coast Fighter, one of the top jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai skills in the state of North Carolina, with Professor Paulumushu. And Caleb he looks really solid the last time I saw him in the cage, so I'm going to have to give Caleb his second win.
All right. I know those guys over at East Coast, they've got Dennis and Paiva just came from there.
Middleweight champion, yeah.
You got a young kid, John Henning.
Tough group of guys,
yeah,
man.
Absolutely. 0-1, Nate Kaiser steps in the cage versus Brad Strand. I have no idea who these guys are. I'm pretty sure I saw them before. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you've seen them before. Yeah. If Brad Strand, I don't know if they have a record or.
But Brad Strand is he's a debut. He's coming from Ray Thompson's Upstate Karate. Before I get into Brad, though, his opponent, Nate Kaiser, I call this guy the experiment. He's a former professional hockey player out of Charleston. He was on our last Fight Lab card, and in his debut, he took on a guy from Team Rock who was actually, I think Colton was like 4-0, 5-0, and it was just a war. This guy is scary. He's big. He's bad. He trains with Jason Salvo, so he has no quit in him. And he likes to use these things, as we used to call them back in my neighborhood. Of course, I was never good at using them, so I wrestled. But Nate Kaiser is just a phenomenal-looking athlete. On the flip side, though, you know, after Nate lost his last fight, I was like, he's probably not going to lose again because he's just such a phenomenal specimen. But then I saw Brad Strand. I think he's a blue belt under the Machados, possibly a purple belt. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's trained to stand up to Ray Thompson and Wonder Boy, and he's a stud too. I want to use my mulligan on this one, but I'm not going to because I know we got some tough picks later on. So I'm not going to use my mulligan. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to give the nod to Brad Strand.
Good enough for us.
I'm going to say the ground is going to come.
This is the first time we've done this in about, what, 3 months now?
Yeah.
4 months now? You got to learn to use them wisely. That's the only advice I'm going to give you.
I know.
But we're going to proceed. The current XFP featherweight champion is Trey Singleton. He takes on 4-0 Michael Hold My Glasses Clark. I think Mike said
4-0.
4-0 right now.
He's 4-0.
What do you think about this? And I got another follow-up question after this, too.
Man, I tell you what, this has fight of the night written all over it. And that is saying a lot because our pro card and main card is stacked.
Yeah.
Man, I really don't know. You know, Trey Singleton, he trains at Marshall's MMA. He's a student here at UNC Charlotte. He trains at Marshall's MMA in Goldsboro originally, but when he came to Charlotte, he started training here at Renegade. It's summer, so he had to go back to Goldsboro with his original team. And I've been on the mat with this kid. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people have any form of just freakish technique or physical skill set when I'm on the ground with him that I feel threatening. This kid is triple jointed in almost every bone in his body, and he has
yet disgusting at the same time.
He has the weirdest hips. Like it's very hard to sweep him. It's very hard to keep him from passing. He's very difficult to take down. He's deceptively strong for a 19-year-old kid, and his striking is ridiculous when he lets it go. He does have the tendencies to have lapse in judgment, and what seems to me, just training with him and watching him in fights, he seems to have a lapse in focus, and that's where he's going to have problems, I think, with Michael Clark, because Michael Clark has phenomenal jiu-jitsu. He's a tough kid. He keeps coming forward.
Sure.
He doesn't give you a chance to get a lot of your strikes off, but the biggest thing is he's got two of the best coaches in the Charlotte area, Steve Hall and Clay Reynolds, sitting over in his corner. You know, Trey's going to have to knock him out. Yeah. And I haven't seen Michael Clark rock, so, man, I don't even know. I really don't even know. Are you going to make me pick on this one?
You don't have to.
You should give me a pass on this one.
I'm just going to call you a wuss because the following question I have for you is, if Michael wins this, does this set up a title shot maybe potentially for him?
You know, that's one of those things, and again, people think that at Fight Lab we just do things for our own selfish benefit. We don't, and with Michael, you know, he's a great fighter. Trey's a great fighter, but the fact is they're both very young.
Sure.
Trey is he just turned 19. He made his debut on his 18th birthday with us. Michael Clark, I'm not sure how old he is, but he's got to be 18 or 19 years old. Yeah, they're very young, and me as the matchmaker, because I want the best fights, and I love Michael Clark to death. I love his team. I respect Steve Hall. I love Clay Reynolds. And Trey, you know, training here at Renegade when he's not at home in Goldsboro, I wouldn't feel good about putting them into a fight right off the bat with a Jason Fagler or a J.J. Brantley or you know, there's other guys out there, no offense to those two, that I think for the immediate time, there's a time and place for everything. Yeah. Well, to be completely honest with you, I could probably see I could definitely see Probin or Hull getting into the title picture before them.
I sort of had that written on my
just because of experience, yeah.
Yeah, that's understandable. Thank you for clearing that up for me. The women's title fight features 4-0 Hannah Cyphers, who trains right here. She is the current U.S. Freedom Fighter champion, if I'm correct. She takes on Roa Darvishian. I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
I think that's right.
First time in a long time I actually got it right. She's at 4-2. She trains at a Revolution, I believe. She's the current Revolution Fight Series champion, I believe, out in Virginia.
Yes.
These women's fights always bring out something that is so electric. No matter if it's here at Fight Lab, Freedom Fighter, Elite, no matter what promotion you go to.
Yes.
These are always exciting fights.
Yeah. And this is our first title fight. So this is our first female title fight that we've ever had, and it's going to carry a lot of importance to us as a promotion going forward, trying to earn a TV contract. This thing has such big implications for us. It's just ridiculous, and we're honored to have both of them on the card. Obviously Hannah trains here at Renegade with us. I don't think anyone in the Southeast would challenge that she's earned the right to be fighting for the first Fight Lab women's title. She hits like a man. She's she's stronger than most male pro fighters, all the way up to 135 pounds. I mean, it's just ridiculous, her strength. She has a strong chin, and I mean, you just can't say enough about her talent. For once, though, she faces a legitimate threat, because Roya Darvishian is a challenge. She's a problem. As coaches, we've looked at her. She's a problem. I'm sure Big Phil probably wants to kill me for even putting this big of a challenge in front of us. But Roya's hand speed is ridiculous. She's the first person that Hannah's probably fought that as far as striking technique can give her a challenge, and she can wrestle. And when I say wrestle, she can actually wrestle, which is very rare in today's female mixed martial arts, especially in this region. Most female fighters in the region are Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. This girl can wrestle, and her Jiu-Jitsu solid. She's a blue belt under Master Lloyd Irvin. So this is going to be a barn burner. Yeah. My pick, of course, is going to be Hannah, because she's from Renegade, but you don't want to miss this fight. Yeah. You do not want to miss this fight. Trust me.
Comes down to the wire.
Man, and that's what I was saying earlier about Trey Singleton and Michael Clark possibly being fight of the night, because this fight, this is the main event anywhere else. Not going to call any promotions names, but if I was kind enough to move this fight over to your card, this would be the main event.
But you're not kind enough. You're going to keep it right here in the show.
I'm not kind enough. I want to keep it on this card.
That's good enough. But you do have J.J. Brantley stepping back in the cage for the first time, I believe, in over 2 years. The former elite champion. He takes on Kenny Hill at 6-3. He's had plenty of title shots.
Yes.
4, if I'm correct, if my arithmetic is correct, in the 4 title shots in the last 2 years. What's going to be the big thing for JJ stepping back in the cage after this long a time? And Kenny Hill is no slouch here.
No, Kenny Hill's definitely no slouch. He is an amazing athlete. He trains with a tough team down there with the big dog John Bryant.
No relation.
He's his ground game's solid. His striking is explosive. His wrestling is explosive. He's a challenge for most people. Unfortunately, J.J. Brantley's not most people. 7-0 as an amateur. In my opinion, he's one of the top bantamweights in the southeastern United States, period, pro or amateur. The question is going to be how much of that confidence and swagger has he lost with this big lapse of competition. He's been training. He trains with Satsuma, with Dave Mansell and Zeb. Awesome jiu-jitsu school. Great group of guys, very high level jiu-jitsu. He trains with Jeff Jimmo, one of the top trainers in the southeast United States, and he comes over here to Renegade too, and gets it in with these guys sometimes. So, his consistent training partners, Charlie Vivas, is an undefeated pro, and Charlie's a stud. So, I mean, the accolades for JJ, we could go on and on and on and on and on, but at the end of the day, he hasn't stepped in the cage for a year, and he's never stepped in the Fight Lab cage. And most people would say, well, what in the hell does that have to do with anything? We're known for people breaking under pressure. I mean, our shows, we don't have 200 people in the crowd. We have 1,000 to 1,700 people in the crowd. It's rowdy, it's loud, it's a show, there's music, there's lights, and we've got those death dealers for gloves, which is, our gloves, they pass commission inspection, but anybody that's ever been hit with our gloves will tell you those things are not friendly. So, I mean, there's a few variables in there that JJ's going to have to deal with, but Kenny Hill's got an uphill battle. I mean, he's got a challenge. He's got to solve the jigsaw of JJ Brantley, and JJ the jigsaw Brantley. It's awesome. So we'll see. My pick, I'm going to have to go with JJ.
There you go. Good enough for me. Another huge title fight is 6-0. Ricky Saxton taking on who's the title holder out there in Durham with Bull City Brawl. He's going to fight Lawrence Dennis at 6-4. He's now the new elite champion. You know a little about Dennis?
Yeah.
You know a little about Ricky?
Mm-hmm.
What do you let us know?
Man, I tell you what, you know, Lawrence Dennis, the Matrix, as I call him, as far as I'm concerned, one of the top amateur MMA prospects coming out of North Carolina. Formerly trained out here at Renegade with us for his, I mean, he was at Renegade before I came to Renegade. And lightning hand speed.
Sure.
I mean, just world-class hand speed. People, when I say that, they think it's an exaggeration. This is as close as you will get to seeing a pro-level boxer's skill set as far as hand speed goes step into a cage in their prime. People always ask what happens with the boxer and the wrestler. Well, you watch a lot of Lawrence's fights, there's your answer. I mean, his hand speed is just ridiculous. He can knock people out with one punch.
Yeah.
I think he has 3 knockouts on the Fight Lab circuit. He's fought as high as 55. He's fought as low as 45. He's fought some tough guys, Solon Staley, Nick Bill from down in Georgia. He's at Body Quest now with a phenomenal group of competitors. You know, he's out there with Aaron Brooks, Dylan Calla, Shane Crenshaw, Josh Smith, Chase Gamble, Alan Greenway, Eric Calderon. I mean, he's out there with a lot of guys to give him good looks inside the cage. The question in this is going to be is Ricky Saxton, who is now officially the Fight Lab lightweight champion because Tony Tan's not coming back. He's going to go pro. Ricky is, you know, he's undefeated. He's never tasted the hands of defeat. He's a very high caliber athlete, one of the best wrestlers to ever come out of Mount Vernon High School up in Virginia. He wrestled at Edinburgh. He trains with Team Rock. Again, cardio, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and then on top of it, you add his wrestling pedigree. I think, in my opinion, the way the fight is going to go is Lawrence is going to have to knock him out. If he doesn't knock him out in the first round, I think he's going to do so much damage to him that rather Ricky's coaches tell him to do it, or Ricky just says, to hell with this, he's warming my head up, I'm about to go back to my wrestling pedigree. And if he does that, it's going to be a long night for Lawrence.
Are you afraid for Lawrence on the ground? Is that maybe a concern for
you know, Lawrence, when he was here with me, I don't know what he's been doing out at Body Quest, but I know when he was here with me, you know, I felt very comfortable with Lawrence off of his back.
Sure.
The problem that we ran into with Lawrence when he was here, and I don't know if it's changed or not, is him being on his back underneath a powerful wrestler. And Ricky Saxton, when he chooses to be, and again, we've never seen him do it. Only thing I've ever seen out of the kid is he comes in, he stands up, he's more athletic, he moves in and out, you know, and he's just having a good time. But again, when you chin check somebody, you know, it goes both ways. If they realize that you got superior hands, all of a sudden they go back to what they do best, and I don't think Lawrence can let him do it. As far as a pick, you know what? I'm going to use my mulligan on this one.
You're allowed to do this one. How many do we give you?
I think I get 4.
I don't know. Seeing how we have the pro card coming up, I don't think I'm going to let you do 4 mulligans in a row. I'm just saying here.
I like Ricky and I like Lawrence. So I'm going to use my mulligan on that one.
Okay. Whatever. I'm not going to give you 4 mulligans, though, because we're moving on to the pros. We got Nick the Vanilla Gorilla Smith, who returns to the Carolinas right now. He's 3-0 as a pro. He takes on Nick Grady, or Grady?
Grady,
who makes his pro debut, if I'm correct. Grady comes off a perfect 6-0 record as an amateur. He had a title with the Sparta Fight League in Virginia, if I'm correct. Nick Vanilla Gorilla just came off a win versus by disqualification with the XFC, and hasn't really. I take that back. His first fight was stoppage by referee stoppage. He's coming back to Charlotte now. Yeah. Hopefully he'll be able to put in a 4 days work with this fight coming up here.
You know, it's going to be a full day's work because we got our hands full on this one. Obviously, I'll give my prediction. Obviously, I'm going to pick Nick Smith because he's from Renegade, but you know, we have our hands full with this, and this is another one where Big Phil wants to kill me because Nick Grady is a massive 170-pounder. He's fought as high as 205, And when I say fought at 205, you know, there's a big gap there between the 185 and 205 pound division. So some people, they weigh 195, they fight 205. This guy weighs 205 and weighed in at 205. So he is a ginormous 170. Puts you in the physical thoughts of a Ricky Rainey coming from 205 down to 170. Sure. Except he's more stockier and shorter. Nick Grady, again, Team Rock, Fayetteville. They're the real deal, man. Jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, cardio. Those three things are hard to overcome, man. And especially when you've got a big team like that are all competitive. You know, he's in there every day with Jesse Herzog, Alex Rojas, Ricky Saxton, the Fight Lab champ. You know, Kadaro Harper, who's making his debut as an amateur. He's in the United States Army. He's tough, which means, and he has no fear, obviously.
I was going to say, that has to play a huge factor.
It does.
These guys coming from Fayetteville.
It does. These guys have no fear.
Yeah.
I mean, and you got to remember, they're in 82nd Airborne, so a lot of these guys, I mean, they've seen active war. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that's going on in the cage.
They're not going to get shot at.
They're not getting shot at. They're not nervous. They're not showing any fear. They're, it's full speed ahead, using the Marine Corps.
Scared to death every single day.
And, those guys, I look at them in the cage. Alex Rojas, he fought Ricky Rainey last fight, and a lot of people, when they fight Ricky, they get in there and they're shook. That kid had no fear. And I'm sure when we get in there with Nick Grady, he's going to have no fear. Nick Smith, this is the best camp he's had. I can tell every one of you guys out there, the guy looks phenomenal. The Vanilla Gorilla is back. His last two showings wasn't exactly what we wanted, but we was fortunate enough to get out of there with the win. And we look forward to improving the record to 4-0. Nick Grady, he's got to show us.
There you go. And he probably will. He just might. Come on Saturday. You got Joseph Corneroli. I keep messing with Corneroli. You know what? I'm just going to keep working on it. He comes off an XFC loss to Ricky Rainey, who's no slouch, and there stands out 3-1. Mm-hmm. Takes on Ghetto Jones at 2-1, but he has not fought since December of last year.
Yeah.
The record is correct.
Man, this could be fight of the night too. By the way, Nick Grady, Nick Smith could be fight of the night.
How many fights of the nights can you have?
Dude, it's crazy. We got 5 fights on here, 6 fights, 7 fights.
All
that could be the main event.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. Am I telling a lie?
No,
could they not be the main event? I mean, look, we could take Michael Clark and Trey Singleton down to the Chitlin circuit.
I hate Chitlins, but go ahead.
Okay. By the way, there are no Chitlin circuits on this side of the state before anybody says anything bad and calls Kenny and cusses me out. All right. We could put that fight as the main event anywhere.
Yes.
We could put Hannah Cyphers and Rory Darvishian as the main event. Ricky Saxton, Lawrence Dennis could be the main event anywhere. JJ Brantley and Kenny Hill could easily be the main event in the Elite. I'm sure Marcelo Rodriguez would love to have that fight. And then every one of these pro fights could be the freaking main event. Who in the hell's the matchmaker, people?
He's got a big mouth, I know that much.
He does talk a lot. Somebody's going to get punched in the eye.
And I can't rewind to see
That's for you, Brandon Barrett. Brent, not that I'm going to punch you in the eye because I know you're a boxer, but Brandon said on Facebook today something about they're going to say somebody's going to get punched in the eye and then it's going to happen. So that's my shout out for Brandon. Somebody's going to get punched in the eye. That's Saturday night.
Just do the drinking, probably.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. My Adderall's wearing off, I think. What was we talking about?
I forgot, and I can't.
Ghetto Jones.
Yes, I can't rewind my
Ghetto
teleprompter,
Jones
so go ahead.
and Joseph Crush Corneroli. Last time we saw Corneroli, like you said, he was the co-main event, XFC, I think it was 19 here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Beautiful.
Lost a unanimous decision to the sniper Ricky Rainey. No shame there. Ricky's 8-1 as a pro, one of the top prospects in the world. I think he's ranked number 70, by the way.
Holy cow.
Number 76 in the world, Ricky Rainey. At middleweight. He's not even middleweight.
Who puts out those rankings?
Fight Matrix.
Okay, I was going to say.
I have nothing to do. They don't even give me a vote. In fact, they won't even return my calls. I tried to get him as number 3, and they wouldn't listen to me.
I wouldn't need to take your call.
I told them. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, back to the fight. Ghetto Jones. Last time I saw him, he was fighting Ricky Rainey, and let me tell you guys something. We barely got out of there. I mean, we barely got out of there alive. This kid, Ghetto Jones, he is the real deal. He's big. He's strong, he's fast, he's athletic. Believe it or not, he's bigger than Ricky. And Ricky is a ginormous 170 pounder. The only person I've ever seen at 170 bigger than Ricky is Ghetto Jones. Joseph Corneroli, Ray Thompson's upstate karate, trains with the Wonder Boy, one of Ray Thompson's top striking students, purple belt under the Machados. I mean, this guy's his stats, his accomplishments go on and on and on and on and on. It's going to be a stand-up war. It's going to be a clinch war. It's going to be a ground war. I'm going to go with the ghetto.
Going with the ghetto.
I'm going with the ghetto.
Good enough for me.
Got to go with ghetto. Ghetto Jones.
Can't go wrong with the ghetto. He got 9-4. Keith Richardson comes off a win in May's Fight Lab. He faces Chino Duran with a record of 6-6. He is 1-2 over his last 3 fights. His last fought last year, which was a loss with the CFA. This is a personal pick for me. Think about it. Take a couple of deep breaths. Who do you have?
Okay, this really isn't fair because it's a personal pick for me too. So I'm going to go ahead and give my pick. Because Chaz is sitting here with me and because of personal connections I have with Keith, yes, I'm going to pick the rock star Keith Richardson. But let's talk about the fight for a minute.
Do we have to?
Chino Duran, he's just a tough guy, man. I mean, he's one of those guys, he's in your face from beginning to end. He can wrestle. He can do a little jiu-jitsu. He can punch very hard. He has a lot of power in his punches, and he just keeps coming forward. The problem with a guy like that is when you fight Keith Richardson, you better come forward with a plan. You can't just come forward on Keith and think you're going to overwhelm him for a couple reasons. Number one, he's a former United States Marine, and he has no fear, just like we was talking about with the Rock guys. There's nothing that you're going to do to him that's going to shake him up. Number two, he can wrestle his ass off, 2-time state champion out of York, South Carolina. Number three, he trains with a phenomenal team down there at Modern Warrior MMA. Top training partners, Chaz Doo-Doo Bryant. The man, the legend, yeah. Chaz Doo-Doo Bryant. Yeah, right. You know, Keith just has so much going for him that the thing that I worry about on Keith's end is that, you know, this guy comes in.
He's distracted by the ring girls.
Well, yeah, he does like ring girls, and it maybe Chino Duran comes in and attempts to fight over his head, because usually that's what happens when a guy comes in. Prime example, Alex Rojas, Ricky Rainey, last fight. It's really hard for a guy at the level of Ricky and Keith to get motivated for guys that's coming in and their records are 500 or below 500. And as you saw with Ricky, you know, he barely won the first round. He lost the second round, and when he was going to the third round, you know, we were worried. Yeah. And Alex just couldn't capitalize on it. Chino, I think, is going to do the same thing. He's going to come in. He's going to fight over his head. He's going to be motivated. He's going to try to use Keith as a stepping stone. But at the end of the day, I think the rock star, you know, he's a vet. He's one of the top pros in the Carolinas, and I see him going in there and enforcing his will.
That has to be the worst nickname I have ever been given in my life.
Chaz Doo-Doo Bryant?
Yes.
Doo-Doo.
Is it correct? Keith's at 5'6". Chino is at 5'4".
Yes.
What middle school, summer school program did you scour across the Southeast to find a guy smaller than Keith?
Well, you know, I take pleasure in finding people that I'm taller than.
Yeah, you must.
And so far I've located Ken Crowder, Solon Staley, Keith Richardson, and Jim Carey. I went to the XFC fight and I found Chino Duran, and I said, brother,
you got to be on my wall.
I need you at Fight Lab.
I don't care what you do. I just want you there right beside me.
Yeah.
So I can look like a GQ model.
Definitely, there will definitely be a high resolution pose of me standing in between Keith and Chino like before the fight. Yeah.
Scale going down. The final fight is Bellator vet Joe Pacheco. He stands at 6-0 as a pro. His last 2 fights with Bellator, he's 2-0. The guy right now is on a terrific streak as a pro. Yeah. He faces a guy named Amici, something I cannot pronounce. He's at 4-7. He's won 2-3 in 2012. And I even tried to break this down phonetically on my prompter. And I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name.
Asalakui.
I apologize.
That's how I'm going to pronounce it.
Okay.
Now,
maybe he'll tell us.
Now, we got a surprise for the announcements for these pro fights. So that's the last time I'm saying it. I call him the infamous AO, as he is known in the MMA community. 2-time Bellator vet, XFC vet, Strikeforce vet. This guy has done it all. He's seen it all. He's been in the biggest. He's fought the baddest. Don't let his record fool you. Okay. This is not by any means a push fight. I've seen this guy KO people going backwards. And for you people who are not that knowledgeable about the MMA world, if someone can knock somebody knock them out going backwards, that means they can punch. He's athletic. He moves. He always is in good shape. He brings a lot of problems to the table. On the flip side of the script, the juggernaut, Joe Pacheco, two-time Bellator vet, fully signed athlete to Bellator. We're fortunate that they would allow us to put him on the card. Trust me, I was warned very sternly by the Bellator brass that Joe better not lose. So, you know, yeah.
Let's go ahead and get your pick because I believe time's running out online.
I think the pick I'm going to go with, simply because Joe's from Renegade, the juggernaut, Joe Pacheco.
What's your big announcement real quick?
I'm not giving the big announcement.
Damn it. I know I shouldn't have cut you off.
Next Saturday, July 27th, doors open at 5, fight starts at 6 o'clock. Silverhammer Studios located at the North Carolina Music Factory. Joe Pacheco, Bellator vet, Keith Richardson, XFC vet, 5-fight main event card, 8 amateur fights. Guys, you got to be there. Get your tickets now, fightlabpros.com.
And use those hashtags too. Facebook allows you to do the hashtags, Twitter, and your Instagram stuff. So if you have all those pictures of the great training photos, all that good stuff, start hashtagging FightLab32. If I'm correct, start using.
That's it.
Go ahead, hashtag away. Say how great the event's going to be. Support local MMA. Brad, another awesome job with predictions again.
Thank you, Chaz.
I believe you're like 51% now on your picks. So.
I don't even think it's 50. It's more like 30.
Yeah, more than like your